Well, it only took a month and a half, but for the first time since launch, really, we've had some substantial leaks to discuss in regards to the upcoming future of Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone 2. And strangely enough, we had these first two major leaks back to back within about 12 hours of each other. So today we're going to be running down all you need to know about these and what they mean for the future of Modern Warfare 2, Warzone 2, and DMZ. So as we go along, drop your thoughts below. What do you think of these? Are you looking forward to the content this promises to bring along? Not so much. Whatever the case, drop your thoughts. But if you enjoy the video, you find it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe to stay updated with all things Modern Warfare 2, Warzone 2, and DMZ. While we're chasing down 600,000 subscribers, I'd love to have you in the community. And finally, I'm thinking we'll be live on Twitch again tonight, doing some camo grinding and hopefully kickstarting that stream grind again. So I'd love to hang out and chat with you guys if you're at all interested. Links in the description below. But for now, let's talk about these leaks. So let's start out with the first thing to leak here. Warzone 2 brought along with it a decent bit of stuff, right? A new BR experience on a brand new map and world, a new DMZ experience, as well as a ton of challenges to grind out in that aspect with rewards along the way. But in moving on to the next generation of Warzone, we also left behind the experience that we had come to know over the last 2.5 years, going on 3 years. And as of the last year and a half, well, actually almost 2 years now at this point, maybe even 2 years, one of the big parts of that experience was resurgence modes for Warzone. We saw the evolution of Rebirth Island, initially modeled after Alcatraz Island in real life, and that blackout styled map, where the original was then in place. We saw a reskin, we saw some updates to it, new points of interest, and other stuff like that. But then along the way, we also saw the introduction and inclusion of a brand new map, Fortune's Keep, and Vanguard's year of support. Now, Fortune's Keep was especially strange to me. It's one thing to say goodbye and to move on from a map that was around since December of 2020, but to say goodbye to a map that was only around for 6 months, that just seemed odd from the very get-go and the announcement of that. But no less, with the launch of Warzone 2, Resurgence maps were entirely pulled from Warzone 1, now renamed Warzone Caldera to be only Caldera on that offering. Naturally, that caused quite a stir and plenty of players wanted to see the Resurgence modes coming to Warzone, except there was only one problem. There was no public plans to see a Resurgence-based map in Warzone 2 yet. Now, this was teased back at, I want to say, COD Next, where Stephanie Snowden ended up talking about how they hear the community talking about Resurgence maps and that they can look forward to stuff in the future. But realistically, that was something that when you think about the future, there was a 6-month time gap between Warzone's launch and the first Resurgence-based map introduced in December. Actually, over that, 9 months at that point. So with that in mind, it was something that might have been a little bit more further out in the anticipation of this for those that maybe Rebirth or Fortune's Keep mains. But as of yesterday, we saw a leak that looks to indicate the first Resurgence-based map for Warzone 2. Now, unfortunately, I can't put this up on screen here for you guys. It is being actively taken down via DMCA copyright strikes. So for the safety of the channel, unfortunately, I just can't put it up. I'll link it down there in the description below if you guys want to check it out, if there is still a link that is active as of the time of this video going up. But we see another island-based map here, similar to Fortune's Keep, similar to Rebirth Island, with a couple of different points of interest that have been listed. Now, interestingly enough, it was something that this was reportedly seen in a Call of Duty group chat on Facebook. I don't know how valid that sort of origin story is, but apparently the original leaker claimed that was how they ended up getting it. But it's something that showcases, again, this island that has various points of interest: a shipwreck, residential area, a water treatment facility, a greenhouse area, apartments, a power plant, a castle, a port, industrial ruins, a town center, and a beach club. This having various areas like sort of coves that are water-based, continuing on that ability to swim within Warzone 2's Resurgence-based maps. But when you look at the top-down level here from this, it does have some resemblances to a hybrid between Rebirth Island and Fortune's Keep. The castle kind of reminds me of that sprawling mansion that we saw in Fortune's Keep. Shipwreck reminds me a little bit of some of the bays from Caldera. Residential from a top-down perspective looks incredibly like the tents from Rebirth Island. Apartments kind of looks like that control center from Rebirth Island. So you kind of have this design hybrid between Rebirth Island as well as Fortune's Keep, with maybe some elements of just that sort of beachy vibe of Caldera. Now, what was described with this is that it will be Resurgence based with around 50 players, in line relatively with what we've seen prior with the Warzone 1 Resurgence based modes. It's also described, though, interestingly, that we'll see this as a ground war map with 24v24 play. So that'll be really interesting, that this will not only just be utilized for the Warzone experience, but also for the multiplayer experience as well, something that we did not see at all within the Warzone 1 experience. And honestly, I think that'd be really cool. I would love to have played ground war on Rebirth Island or on Fortune's Keep. I think that'd be really cool. So to include this now to come across the board for all these modes, seems pretty interesting. And then DMZ was also mentioned, as well as having support here in this Resurgence map, continuing that DMZ focus for all things Warzone. Now, DMZ is the only thing that I think that I have some real questions with here on how that would work, and mainly just the player count with it, because in Al Mazrah, there's about roughly, I want to say 60 players or so of real players. So around that near 1/3 player count mark as regular BR, and what those full lobbies will have in that aspect. So perhaps for the player count on this Resurgence map, maybe around 20 players or so, 6 trio teams or so, something like that. I guess we'll have to wait and see, but to be able to have, again, that new Resurgence map coming at some point with ground war support and DMZ support, and the layout that we see here, it seems pretty cool, looks pretty promising. Now, as for the timing of this, there absolutely is nothing that we know about this. Again, this is something that we only know is actually legitimate because it's being taken down by Activision elsewhere. So it is something that does have that validity, but we don't know anything beyond that. The timing, up in the air. Seems a little too close, if you ask me, to release this in mid-season, even though that would be an awesome surprise edition, as we talked about yesterday. I'm kind of hoping to see some surprise editions. Might be a little too close to that one, but perhaps it's something that comes with Season 2, which, speaking of Season 2, we actually got today a leak from our resident insider, Ralph's Valve, that talked about Season 2 in particular, debuting even some of the key art well ahead of the scheduled launch date for Season 2. If you guys remember, we talked about how Season 1's back end is a little longer than the front end, so we're going to see Season 2 kicking off, assuming nothing changes, on February 1st. But we already know a little bit about what's upcoming. His report stating, starting in the month of February, Season 2 for Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone 2.0 will deliver all new offerings for players, ushering in major updates, new cosmetics, and content kicking off the year. Modern Warfare 2 appears to be harboring back to the classics for Season 2, welcoming back World at War's favorite castle map, alongside the return of Warcom operator Ronin, featured from Call of Duty Modern Warfare, the face of Modern Warfare 2's expected season. So this is something that is incredibly interesting here because, well, we see that with the key art, it seems to be a Japanese style theme, with Ronin again returning as an operator, that key operator for Season 2, the main one that will come in the Battle Pass, others likely coming throughout the season in paid bundles. But the biggest part that is the strangest crossover to me is that, according to him and this key art, it sure looks like Castle is returning, a map that we just saw within Vanguard, but also is a Treyarch creation. Which, sure, Treyarch has a hand in the ranked play within Modern Warfare 2, but we don't often see, and beyond Sledgehammer's introductions, we haven't seen any sort of crossover between Modern Warfare universe and Black Ops universe explicitly in one game or the other. Warzone has kind of blended those two together, and for Modern Warfare 2019, that's now taking this new Modern Warfare universe and making it something that folds into the Black Ops universe, so it's all one Call of Duty universe. But we haven't seen this explicit map transition from Treyarch game into Infinity Ward game and vice versa. So to see this is rather interesting. And also, from a sense of play perspective, Castle played with the combat pacings decently, depending on where you played it, and before they ended up changing it to only be in Blitz. There were still moments, though, where you might not find too many engagements, or especially by comparison to the frenetic gameplay that you want with Shoot House and Shipment, that you wouldn't find as many quick gunfights. Now, without combat pacing in Modern Warfare 2, 6v6 is gonna be incredibly slow here, so unless they introduce 10v10, something that this may be a ground war map then perhaps, that's just gonna be throwing the pacing all out of sorts here. But again, I'm still hung up on the fact that we're gonna get Castle in an Infinity Ward game. And yes, I know, again, it is possible everything is owned by Activision. They could very well just be like, okay, we're gonna do this now, but it's just so strange to me. So to see that all come out here within the last 24 hours or so is certainly interesting, but offers up a decent look at the future here and what we can expect. So again, that's kind of where we're at here at this. The new Resurgence-based map offering up 50 players roughly in terms of player count, ground war support, and DMZ support. The timing of that is not yet known, but Season 2 coming on February 1st, pending no changes here to how the rollout of stuff will go along. We see a bit of a preview as to that new operator and a multiplayer map that could come along with it. And again, fingers crossed we get more than just that one multiplayer map with Season 2, but that's what we know of right now. So that said, that's what we're gonna call it. I'd love to get your thoughts and feedback down there in the comment section down below. What do you guys think of this? Because to me, again, it's rather interesting. I want to know if you guys are in the same headspace as me or not. Maybe I'm just the outlier here that finds this strange. And I don't necessarily mean that in a bad way. I just mean that it's just strange. So let me know your thoughts down below. If you guys enjoyed the video, you found it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Modern Warfare 2, Warzone 2, and anything COD related. Love to have you in the community as we chase down 600,000 subscribers. But for now, thanks so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.